how did you know Bart Halderson?
I knew Mr. Halderson through Chandler. I would be at their home quite often, and he would show me fishing tips, or if I was cooking, him and Mrs. Halderson would be in the kitchen, and we would have game nights quite often. And we would also play Mario Kart together a lot.
Okay.
It's really difficult for some witnesses, and think about the position this young woman is in. The man she was dating, unbeknownst to her, allegedly was murdering and dismembering his parents, and still kind of acting like nothing is happening with her. And now all this happens, she's got to come into court and testify. Let's take a look at how this went.
July 1st of 2021 at 7-Eleven, you get a message, right? From Chandler?
Correct.
What does it say?
How do you sleep?
And you say, I slept good. How did you sleep? And how does he respond?
I hardly slept.
Okay. He gives you kind of a emoji face. You say, I'm sorry, B. Why? Can you read Chandler's message back to you after you say why?
I don't know. Stuff hasn't really been going well for me lately, so I'm trying to plan for the next thing to me over.
Okay. After that, Chandler sends another message, and we'll try to get it in the right spot. And can you read that?
Yeah, I just had a great future planned, and it's falling apart.
You read what Chandler sent you on the 2nd of July at just before 10 in the morning at 9:58.
We could do dinner tonight, and you can come over in the morning again and stay till Sunday night.
Okay. Did that message strike you as odd, of coming over, leaving, and coming back?
Yes.
Why?
Because I was already going to be there, and I thought our plan was for the whole weekend.
When you first go in the house that day, did you notice anything off?
There was a smoky smell.
Okay. Did Chandler tell you more about, did he explain why there was a smoky smell?
Because he was playing catch with Rizzo in the house, and the glass shattered in the fireplace, and so the smell got into the home.
While you were with Chandler that night, did he say anything about where his parents were?
Up north at their cabin.
Not easy, not easy. Your former boyfriend on trial for murdering his parents, cutting them up, and you were kind of there in the middle of all of this. Let's bring in Court TV legal correspondent Chandler Painter, joining us live tonight from Madison, Wisconsin. Great to see you, Chandler. I mean, you think about these cases, and there's victims everywhere, and I felt bad for this young woman.
I did too, Benny, and I was in the courtroom for her testimony. She was on the stand for most of the afternoon, and even during the recesses of court testimony, which at one point she requested herself because she was struggling so much on the stand. In the hallway, she was out crying. It was so difficult for her on the stand to testify. I can't imagine, what she has gone through. Really the most emotional witness of the entire trial so far. And you could tell that the jurors knew how important her testimony was, and you knew also that the defendant was into her as well. I noticed him inside the courtroom looking longingly towards his ex-girlfriend. In fact, I noticed him put on his glasses today, Vinny, his eyeglasses that he does not wear for other witnesses, but he put on his glasses during the testimony of her today. It's not in that video right there, but he had them on inside the courtroom when I was in there, and then he took them off for the witness that preceded her after her. That was interesting to me. But she was key for this prosecution because she really gave an inside look into the defendant himself in the months and the weeks leading up to the disappearance of his his parents the lies that he was telling her. She believed him when he had a job. She believed him when he went to school. Now she knows all of that is untrue. Also key for this prosecution, the many screenshots she took of text messages, of FaceTimes, of Snapchats, that really helped this prosecution build a timeline of what the defendant was doing in the days the parents disappeared and afterwards. And some of those screenshots will really prove pivotal for this prosecution, Vinny, because she took a screenshot when the defendant was at a park on a Saturday, 2 days after his parents went missing, Vinny, and that's later where this jury will learn they discovered the remains of his mother.
Unbelievable. You know, you described that moment with the glasses. It takes me back to Ezra McCandless when Jason Mengel walks into the courtroom, her ex, and all of a sudden she starts blushing and she puts the glasses on so she can see him on the stand. Same situation today. Any other big moments from today?
Oh, absolutely. It's always a big moment, Vinny, inside the courtroom when a jury, people who don't watch trials every day like you and I do, they have to sit in and they have to look at crime scenes and sensitive photos, gruesome photos, and that started today. The testimony earlier led to the break in the case. The testimony of Crescent Lasai and Dulce Melander. They owned the property where the defendant went on July 5th. They noticed him not in the swimming pool where he meant to be, but in the woods. They reported that after the Haldersons went missing, and the detectives were able to locate some gruesome remains, the remains of Bart Halderson. That was through the detective Balberstock today. He told this jury that when he responded to that remote property here in Dane County, Wisconsin, Vinny, that he was attracted to a location in the woods where Halderson was seen, Chandler Halderson, the defendant, and that vultures were swirling around that portion of the area. And as he approached, he noticed this unusual pile of sticks and limbs and debris, and finally discovered that was a torso. It was difficult for him to testify to, and of course the jury seemed disturbed as they had to look at those photos.
Difficult day all around. Chanley Painter, live tonight in Madison, Wisconsin. Thank you so much. Let's bring in our think tank who's been patiently standing by, joining us tonight in the Bronx, New York, criminal defense attorney Renee Hill. In Atlanta, Georgia, criminal defense attorney, law professor at Emory University and the Georgia Innocence Project board member Molly Palmer. And in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, former prosecutor, former assistant state attorney, counsel for Ben Crump Law, and trial attorney Sue Ann Robinson. Great to see everyone tonight. Thank you for being patient tonight. All right, Renee, let's talk about the ex-girlfriend comes in. I mean, this completely damages this defendant. She was lied to. He dragged her into the middle of all this. You can see how this has destroyed her. Bad day for the defense once again.
Yeah, I think every day has been a bad day for the defense in this case, and it is absolutely horrific. And now to have this witness on the stand, someone who believed in this man, trusted this man, and has now learned, the lies that he's been telling her, is just horrible for her. And the jurors can see that. They can see how emotional she is about all of this. The realization that she was around when these heinous acts, were being committed. And so it's a difficult day for the defense. The defense attorney has not had a lot of cross-examination for any of the witnesses. And, it bears out that she really does not have a defense for her client in this case.
Molly Palmer, you always seem to find some weakness or something that the prosecution has done wrong. Yeah, that's a challenge here, isn't it?
Vinny, it really is. This is a tough one. This is an extremely tough one. And I imagine when you have a case like this and you have an act that seems so sociopathic, I just have to believe that this young man demanded a jury trial. And we have to remember that at the end of the day, that decision is our client's. It's the defendant's. It's not ours. And so when you're in this position as an attorney and your client is adamant that they are going to trial, you try the case. You sit beside them and you try the case. And I really have a sense that that's what's going on here, that they tried to reason with their client and tried to maybe negotiate to save his life or mitigate his sentence. But I imagine that this young man, given what we've seen thus far, might be the type to say, you know what, absolutely, we're going to trial. I want to put this in front of a jury, and that's that.
Sue Ann, the one thing this points out, and I mentioned that to Chandler, is that in cases like this, there are the obvious victims, his parents, but there's so much more damage all around, just destroying lives when people do things like this.
Absolutely. And in this case, he brought in his girlfriend because not only did he not disclose what was going on or what he did to her, but he also tried to bring her into it by asking her to bring him cleaning supplies, telling her to bring him peroxide, I think a Swifter supplies so that he could clean. I mean, to me, the issue here is he almost is at a point where he's believing his own lies if he's taking a case like this to trial with no adequate defense. It's almost like all the stories and all the things that he was telling her about how he was going to work for Elon Musk and he was in school and he was working, all the things he wasn't doing, it's almost like he's starting to believe them and ask for a jury trial in a case where he is not presenting a defense. Not that he has to. We know that's not his burden. But the expectation is with a jury trial is that he's going to have something. He's going to have some Menendez type defense. He's going to have something to say. And he doesn't seem to be presenting a story. The story that seems to be coming out is that he was caught in his web of lies, and that's why he murdered his parents.
Yeah, if he wants a Menendez defense, he's going to need a wardrobe change. Needs one of those pastel sweaters. Only way it's going to work.